Welcome, everybody. This is Patty XRP. I have Mickey B. Fresh and Flare Community with me to host this AMA with two of the founders from Flare Finance, Nick and Brett. So I'll let you guys start off by introducing yourself, and then we'll get into quite a few questions that we have for the remainder of this.
Hello there. My name is Nick, as many of you have seen, otherwise Nikitas. Most of you know me by my nickname Banik, which I use for a very long time. I've been a UX UI designer and a developer for as long as I can remember myself, working on many different projects in various fields. I once worked on a BTC-centered exchange. That was my first relation to crypto. And several years later, I started freelancing more actively, where in around late 2019, I would say, I met Brett and we started. I was hired actually as a freelancer back then to start a company called Muse Protocol that a lot of you have heard, which was pretty fun to start with, and we afterwards became partners actually. And yeah, I believe I will let Brett to fill in about himself.
Hi, my name is Bretton Wervin, or Brett Wervin. You probably know me as my handle Delvin. I guess I'll just start. Previous to crypto, I was in the entertainment and advertising industries. I got into crypto about 2017. I met Anthony shortly after, and we started building a project called XBA Bitcoin Air. That project was a stablecoin. Essentially, we built a system. It's very similar to Terra Luna. We were actually building it before they existed, where you would burn $1 of the volatile currency, which was called XBA, to mint $1 of the stable currency. Essentially, we're building a blockchain that had a stablecoin as a crypto primitive because we found the problem, hey, why are these decentralized ecosystems powered by centralized stablecoins? And we were building to address it far before there was a lot of attention on this. It's I guess people will ask when things fail, they always in the crypto space assume some kind of foul play. If you were in the space, we launched somewhere first quarter 2018. That was the worst bear market in crypto history. There was like almost no usage across most protocols that were launching and exchanges, as bear market activity is far less. At the time, we did not have the connections and experience and know-how that we do now to execute to the level that we have today. One of the interesting quotes that I read from Warren Buffett was that he doesn't invest in first-time entrepreneurs because first time you try to build something, there's so many pitfalls and potholes and problems that you have never encountered that your chances of success are very slim. Anyone who has accomplished anything of like meaning has generally gone through a number of failures before they build the thing that you know them for. So then we went on after XBA failed. There's no market. We couldn't pay the team. There's problems that we couldn't solve at the time. We started the Muse protocol, which was building a digital music rights platform around NFTs, which was again 2019, far before NFTs and things were exploding. But then we happened to find, I found Flare, while we were in the process of building this product. And that's how we kind of stumbled into building DeFi. As somebody and a team who likes to build things, it seemed like a great solution to build a system that could add future things that come into DeFi as puzzle pieces, just because that kind of could click to this central yield manager. So this is a very attractive thing. We pivoted. We actually never ended up launching like a token or anything with the Muse protocol. So there's nothing that we could have done negative with that one. But this is something that we figured, hey, we can build this modular system that we can attach all these things to, and then we can literally just keep building as we like to do and attaching things to this modular system, which makes way more sense than trying to build it in a bunch of different primitives. So I guess that's my intro. I'll let you guys continue with questions and things that you may have for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. So the first thing we're going to start off here is basically the allegations from the community. I'll explain this in the best way that I can from what I picked up online and from others. So there's an entity in what I believe it's in the Netherlands, I believe, or Europe, somewhere in that area, called Flare Finance BV. There's 3 shareholders listed on it. Your guys' names, since you just said them, are 2 of the names. The other is an individual named Anthony, and there has been speculation that this person has an ongoing lawsuit against them in the state of California. From what I can tell, looks like, I mean, I don't know if it's fraud, but something around those lines. So people are definitely concerned about this. They've been concerned about the anonymity of the team and why you guys haven't been willing to come out and basically, share who you are until, I guess, now you just did. Additionally, on top of that, the other thing I'd add is Anthony's still with the team. Obviously he's not here today. And if you could just address all of that.
Yep. So definitely starting with the company side, yes, that is our entity, which we have in the Netherlands, and those 3, those are directors, to be clear, not shareholders directly. So those directors are indeed us. The third director is is Anthony, and it actually was it came to a huge surprise for us as well at the time when this came out publicly. We didn't know about the happening. At the time, it was an internal matter, which we had, of course, first to resolve ourselves before we start talking publicly about it, right? So about the allegations about the lawsuit, as far as we're concerned, there is a pending case. We were not aware of that, and I am actually not aware of what is exactly case referring to that case. The Anthony person, just to clarify, because I just saw it in a lot of questions from the forum, is a Crypto Frenchie handle in the community, and he is not longer a part of the team. He has actively resigned since. I believe I covered that part. If you have anything to follow up.
I just wanted to add a little bit why we didn't kind of address it as soon as the community started telling us about it, because I've been in not 1 but 2 projects with Anthony, and our names have been public the whole time for those 2 projects, and never before did any of this stuff come up, and it was in existence before the projects. So I mean, when it first came up, I definitely didn't really think it was possible to be the same person. And then like, we can't just go address something before we talk to our legal teams. So again, first we have to set a meeting with the lawyers, talk to the lawyers, and then kind of go through our options before we can address things publicly. And also, it's not really our place to talk about somebody else's issues. Secondarily, in dealing with Anthony for the last 5 years, off and on, not only has no one ever brought these things up, secondarily, he's never acted in a way that caused anybody internally to question him. So, I mean, I'm not condoning him or supporting him. I'm just saying there was no before this, there was no precedence for us to investigate these things. And as soon as the problem arose, we have to deal with it in the correct manner, which is talking to first our lawyers, and B, second, our shareholders, to see how we're going to move forward from this. And then the third thing which we need to do, which we are doing right now, is addressing the community. So there's no other way that we could have handled this as it came up. So that's why we're here now.
Cool. And just one other question on top of that. Why had you guys chosen to be anonymous up until this point? Like, what was the reasoning behind that? Is the only reasoning that you're coming out now because of, what has transpired? Could you touch on that some?
Sure. I would actually say no. The reason why I'm out here now is not necessarily just because this has transpired. And I would like to add that we're technically not anonymous. If we had wanted to remain anonymous forever, we could have named our corporation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 10 Corp. And nobody ever would have found it. Instead, we named our corporation Flare Finance BV after the actual corporation that we're running, which had our names on it. For me, it's a personal, more of a personal choice. I'm not really out here on social media. I'm not really, I just like to build things and research new tech. I don't really want to be a public figure. That's my personal reason. We had always discussed at some point we're going to have to go public. But obviously I didn't think it was going to be under circumstances like this. It's not a matter of trying to per se hide myself, because I do think the projects and products that we were building in the past show that we are able to identify legitimate problems generally before the market does, and then B, that we are able to build towards these and actually build tech versus promising that we're going to build tech. And we're not always perfect in that, but it actually, in my opinion, kind of helps if people know that, hey, we're not just some random guys who decided one day, hey, let's try to build some new random blockchain stuff and just stumbled into blockchain and wanted to build some get rich quick. I've probably lost more money building things than I've made money building things, but I build things, and I'm sure Nick has his own reasoning as well, because I like to build them. I like to solve problems. I like to build things, and this is just another step along the journey to building something that I think has great potential. So yeah, if you look at our pasts and the things that we've done, I think it should kind of inspire confidence, because we failed before, and we have made a lot of connections and learned a lot of things that can help us succeed into the future by doing so, which a lot of teams, I'm very sure, that cannot say that of themselves. So.
And sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was just going to say, so I only have one more question on this front, and then obviously we have a lot more stuff having to do with the protocol. So a lot of people, or at least I've been told by people that they've asked about this like over the past month, and that they've either been blocked, on Twitter or banned from the Discord. Are you guys aware of that? Can you speak to that?
Yes, I actually investigated that upon reading the questions. We were actually unaware that there's people who have been blocked, because the people who are blocked, the messages have been deleted from our side on Twitter as well. Obviously, there's 3 of us here, and there's one of us who might have incentive to delete and block people in an attempt to try and silence something. But obviously that isn't really going to work. It's definitely wasn't either one of us who did any of the blocking or removing of the people who are asking questions, because I mean, they're asking legitimate questions for which you should never be penalized for. So yeah, that's as much as I can give you an answer on that.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'll pass it off, Flare community, if you want to come on with some questions. If you want to address what was just said or other stuff, feel free.
Yeah, sure. So something that I'm curious about is you said that Anthony's since left the team. When did this come about? Was this a direct result of these allegations coming to light?
Yes, this was a direct result of the allegations coming to light. Again, we didn't know anything about it internally, so we first consulted our lawyers, then our shareholders, and then this is the decision that was best for the company to continue into the future. So, I mean, there's nothing you can really do about that. If the majority of people are in favor of doing that inside of a company, then legal structure kind of determines that this is what happens. So,
yeah, for sure.
But he did willingly resign, just for the record.
Okay. Something else that I was going to ask is, obviously there was this negative loop that was an exploit upon the launch of Flare loans. I imagine as founders you have, or you're knowledgeable of the addresses of each other, all of the founders, right? I'm wondering if this, this over collateralized loan, which is standing at almost $9 million, I wonder if that could possibly or potentially be tracked back to Anthony's account. Is there any way that you could look into that, or maybe make Anthony's account public so that we could look into it further ourselves?
I mean,
I don't think we can publicize somebody else's personal information address. That's not something we'll be doing. However, the loan has accumulated a bunch of debt. That actually came from the stability pool being empty at the time when the price dropped. So
and
that was the biggest nest that got redistributed to, I believe, for the debt and collateral as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, Nick.
No, yeah. So pretty much what happened with that loan is that at some point in the previous days/weeks, I don't honestly remember when it happened, there was a series of liquidations which brought all the loans on the platform to one single large loan, which also indicated an issue in the platform, which I cannot call it an exploit because I don't believe there was any kind of exploit. It's a very strong word. There was no like technical issue with the platform itself. There were some issues where people were trading on the market and increasing the price, if you're referring to that. To our knowledge, that's something that none of the team members did. Again, that's something we cannot track back on an exchange like BitTrue or anything like that. Right?
The exploit he's referring to, or quote unquote exploit he's referring to, is somebody pushing up the
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
On the external exchanges, and then opening a large loan. There's no way that we can know what address did that. I can confirm, like I've checked our addresses because I did want to know if it was somebody internal, and like that was not us who was pumping the price to try and open new loans. We have implemented price feed changes that prevent this from happening in the future. But yeah,
we are still testing that actively a lot, obviously, and that's in my eyes why Songbird is out there, right? We couldn't kind of foresee this issue happening because it's an open trading market. We didn't expect somebody to.
Additionally, this does kind of show the value of a test canary network for those exact reasons, because of the fact that there was no, there's no financial incentive for people to misuse the system when we're on Costin. So the same issues were possible on Costin, but they can't really be spotted because there's no financial incentive for people to spend the time and effort to find these problems that we need to correct. So a canary network definitely is something that we're extremely happy that the Flare team released.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. You know, and you do have this massive warning at the top of the page. You know, people do need to realize that it is, you know, experimental. But just staying on the theme with the collateralized loan, is that ever going to be, you know, there's obviously no incentive for people to join the stability pool with an amount that can liquidate that loan due to obviously being shortchanged, unless the collateral raises. But do you have a plan to rectify that, or maybe are you considering using some funds to liquidate it to redeem it yourself?
That's something that I believe should, and I think was in the previous day. I'm pretty sure it was in the previous days a topic of discussions in our governance channels, and I believe that is something that we all as a community should address and agree on what we all believe is the best solution by governance in whichever form it's applicable at that point of time. Just to clarify, the loans platform and all our other systems are being audited all the time, and that is because through the time we have added things, and since like maybe previous audits, there has been changes in the code. So we are continuing actively doing audits. Right now, we are working with a great team called Common Prefix. They have been working a lot with us on the loans platform, and the preliminary audit, which we're working on together, is ready, and it actually looks great. There are no major issues, or like no issues at all. I believe there are only several suggestions, and after working with them to see what and how to resolve those, we are happy to release that publicly together with a code for the platform, right? So that's something I think people would like to hear. And yeah, they will also audit all of our code on ongoing basis whenever there are any changes, such as recently on version 2, we added the delegation reward managers, which will be fully audited very, very soon also. So yeah, I hope I answered your question.
Can I tag on with another one on that just to make sure I understand? So are y'all saying that the under collateralized loan, which is backing a good portion of existing Canary dollars, that cannot be fixed until governance goes live. And then my other question is, do you guys think the reason that Canary Dollars is off its peg is solely because of this under collateralized loan and the lack of ability to get it liquidated, since there is not enough Canary Dollars in the stability pool or other loans to help with that?
To answer the why I believe it's under collateralized is because of the price getting pushed up. Somebody pushed up the price on exchanges, and then they opened a loan, and then obviously since they pushed the price so high, for the price cannot be maintained at that level, and then the price crashed, liquidating a lot of people. And liquidating that nest that the person who opened it would have pushed the price up to open the loan at a higher level. That's why, in my opinion, we have these issues. Obviously, we can't go back in time and undo this. However, we have been talking over solutions and ways that we can begin to I guess, restore confidence in Canned. So we do have several plans. However, we are working still, like Nick said, with Common Prefix to finish, I guess, the auditing and the fixing of these smaller issues before moving forward to implement some of the things that we have discussed internally.
Yeah. And to add to that, obviously the price itself did a lot of it to the existing loan, right? One of the questions I saw is why did we open the XFi loans platform in the first place? And that is because in good faith of the product, which we of course have as a team, as we promised, we would deliver loans for our stablecoin backed by our tokens, and that it was taken very good by the community, and we stuck to the plan, and we released that product. And we learned so many things by doing that, which give me much more confidence in the entire team behind this, because there are a lot of developers, and not only who are working on all those interesting products very, very hard. And I would like to give them some credit here, of course. So yeah.
So I have a question, Patty. Are you planning to open source the code once all the audits are done? And when there's, launching on Flare compared to being on, a Canary network, and this was experimental finance. So I think many of us, tried to make the community aware that it's testing in the real world, and you didn't have all the assets, right? So on Flare, there's going to be a lot more assets from the F assets, the 5 of them. There's going to be all the wrap tokens that come over, and then also you're going to have Spark there. So do you see in the future, when there's the whole ecosystem and possibly even another stable coin on Flare, that this system would run optimally with what you learned?
To answer that, our system, as you guys and everyone knows, is incomplete, and we've been pretty open about that going forward. I do think that there is a great chance for the system to work as designed once all the pieces have been implemented. However, we have faced several challenges in I guess development time and schedules due to the issues in the Ukraine. We were actually in Ukraine about 7-8 weeks ago, and actually ended up struggling to get out. Had to call the Netherlands embassy and a bunch of issues to even get ourselves, who are not Ukrainian citizens, out of the Ukraine. And that was before the actual war started. And we do have one colleague, one of our blockchain devs, who's still there. So obviously, our schedules were definitely affected due to the Ukraine in terms of development. We had hoped to have more out by this time, wrap integration, we'd hope to have it done. And then also secondarily, the products that we have released, we've had to go back and kind of fix issues with these products. And this is, I guess, not an uncommon problem in tech. Just the other day, Discord, Spotify, a bunch of other huge billion-dollar corporation apps went down. Something I've pointed out before, like Solana has stopped 1, 2, 3 times in the last calendar year, and it's a top 10 cryptocurrency. I do think the community is maybe a bit harsh on both our protocol and project and Flare, but I do understand people expect results. But at the end of the day, building bug-free tech is kind of a myth, and it's about the teams who are able to improve and who are willing to stick it out to fix the issues that they've created. I do think those are the teams who end up being successful. And we're here all the time as anybody in the community. Well, I mean, maybe not, but like we do spend a good amount of time every single day working towards these goals. It doesn't matter if it's a weekend or if it's holidays, or we're still here working. So I do think that technically, from the technical problem side, I've never really believed that there's an unsolvable technical issue. They just take time to solve. And like that's time in the crypto space is it's a very rapid industry. So I totally understand why people sometimes get a little bit bent out of shape over technical issues. And but I do believe they're resolvable. And I do believe in the team that we've established, because everybody takes ownership and of their own personal problems. If somebody pushed the code that is not working or has the bug in it, that person on our team is always busting, sorry, excuse my French, is always working very hard until that problem is fixed, because it is like a team where everybody feels something towards each other and they don't want to let each other down. So we're here as always building to fix these issues, and I do believe that in time they'll all be fixed. However, it just takes more time than people would like a lot of times.
Yeah, I'm curious about you guys for this. If you would be interested, or not interested, but essentially when the loans platform came out, obviously there's a lot of volatility in the market. The airdrop for the XI token, the SUV price ran up. It dropped promptly like 50% very shortly after that came out. Do you guys ever think about possibly changing the way that you launch and maybe not putting the loans platform out there as quickly? Or, what do you guys think about that going forward, or have you given it thought?
Yeah, actually, this is something that me and Nick were discussing literally just in the last few days, is if we could go back and do the launch again. If you look at Liquidity, the protocol that we forked from, they launched at a period of time when ETH was super low priced. And then at the time, well, I mean, from there, it went from like somewhere around $140 to $300 to like $3,000, right? So they launched this protocol in a time when there was like one of the largest bull markets in history. So the problems that we faced, given, I mean, when we took our snapshot, SGB was 44 cents and now it's 4, right? So the problems that we're facing may actually be problems, and likely are problems, in the Liquidity platform as well. It just hasn't been exposed to such negative price action, which again, if you're using a collateralized loans platform, it is very hard to, it's very hard if the collateral gets halved in value every 7 days to 2 weeks. So, I mean, this is a problem that I do believe if we were releasing again, we would try to time the market, but there obviously is some issues that we need to iron out in our products as well. So yeah, it was necessary to release it and have people using it to find a lot of these issues. As with if there was no price incentive, these issues would never be discovered. So yeah.
Gotcha. Flare community, I want to pass it back to you for some more.
Yeah, sure. I do have maybe one idea for the loans, and I'm not sure. I'm actually pretty sure that you've considered this already, but there is that sweet spot between 100% collateralized and 110% collateralization, which is obviously the liquidation threshold. Have you considered either increasing the liquidation threshold to account for this volatility, or maybe even potentially allow the introduction of bots to auto-liquidate these loans which fall below a certain collateralization threshold instantly, rather than having users having to manually liquidate the loans?
Oh, Nick, are you going to answer, or do you want me?
Sorry. So could you rephrase that? Sorry, I didn't quite get your question.
Yeah, sure. So basically, the collateralization threshold at 110% exists now, right?
Yeah,
And if it falls below that, they get liquidated. Have you thought about increasing that ratio to 120, 130% to?
Actually, we have implemented something, and that is the fact that you cannot take a loan below 120% right now, and the extra 10% is just a safety net, right? However, with the upcoming governance platform, it would be, I believe, possible to give the ability to the community to vote for their own like liquidation threshold if we see that makes sense, together with our auditors, I believe, and the team internally, right? Because it's a really complex platform, right? It is really hard to say, to calculate all the possible outcomes of just one single change on a call, right? But we are definitely open to consider solutions and suggestions like that, which will be obviously brought by community.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the governance module to launch. But the second part to that question was this idea of having or allowing bots to auto liquidate under collateralized loans. I think at the minute, if I'm correct in thinking that the user has to actually go to the liquidations tab and manually liquidate a loan that's under collateralized, would it not make sense to have this the under collateralized loans liquidated immediately once they fall below this threshold?
Well, I believe there would be bots built by the community members, which would liquidate like loans as soon as they fall below the collateralization threshold. Yes, and that would be the healthy thing for the system to happen, right? Because all the stable currency should be backed by the assets that it is collateralizing the loan at any price given, right? So as soon as the loan is not healthy anymore, it should be liquidated. Yes.
I definitely agree, but I don't think at the minute there is a way for a developer to interact with the Flare Finance protocol to allow that to happen, right?
Yeah, and that's what I said previously. As soon as our audit will be complete, fairly soon, I believe, for the loans platform at least, we would be able to release code and possibly in the short term technical documentation as well.
Perfect. Gotcha.
So yeah, it would be definitely possible.
Yes, just to add on to that, I don't believe this is something that we should build as a team. I have talked to a number of external teams who have been requesting for us to release the code base or provide them with router addresses and things like this so they can build other tech that's supplemental to the system. So I do think that there is a good amount of growth ahead of us. One thing that I would like to point out at this time, there's probably 99%, maybe 99.9% of the entire population that has never even heard of our protocol or has never heard of the network that we're on at this point. So I do think that we do still have a great runway for growth. I don't think that our issues are unsolvable by any means. So yeah, I just think it's going to take time. Open sourcing the code is definitely one of our, I guess, one of the things we're most interested in doing as it increases transparency, right? If the code is open sourced and the audits are open source, then there isn't really anything that we can do as a team that can be, I guess, kind of sketchy or the code is law. It's when it's open and verified, then I think that will answer a lot of the critics, I guess, of what we're doing.
Definitely.
Yeah, that makes sense. And Patty, I'm not sure if you have any questions on that matter, but I'm pretty much questioned out and wouldn't mind moving on to something else. So I'll hand it back to you.
I got a few still. I know you guys kind of briefly touched on this, but I want to go back to it. So for the past few epochs, there's definitely been issues as far as delivery of the FTSO rewards through your guys' smart contracts. So I was wondering, what kind of timeline do we have for a fix on this? How far back are users going to be reimbursed for with the SGB they're owed from the FTSO? And then if you could also just touch on like why have there been some technical challenges?
Definitely, that's a great question. So all the unclaimed epochs right now are just unclaimed. To clarify that, none of the funds were taken or anything like that. They're just not distributed, and we did that because there was a lot of conversation happening around our delegation manager, right? Whether the way we're distributing the rewards are correct or not, or we're doing something wrong, or anything into that extent. And this story comes back to the version 2 launch and the things we learned from there. So we decided to fix to create the delegation manager in a certain way, which was not an exact replica of the FTSO delegation manager, which didn't one-to-one always represent the exact rewards of the user. That doesn't in any way mean that we didn't distribute any rewards or we were holding those in any way. And again, that code will be also open source when the audit is complete. So yeah, we decided to take a step back and ensure that we follow the exact steps of the original FTSO manager, and we made sure that it's as close as possible, considering the power vote block and all the things around how to calculate it on our side. Made sure this time we had fully tested as much as possible in the implementation. And then, unfortunately, as Brett said, war in Ukraine started by the time we were almost done with pushing our fix. Thankfully, we were able to take into safety a lot of team members, as we mentioned, but one of our dear colleagues is still there. He's safe, thankfully, but that costed us a lot in terms of time of deploying the fix. One more thing, just to put whole clarity to this, was the update of the nodes, which due to the whole situation took us a little bit more time than expected, because the new update had not full history by default of all blocks. We were not able to run our snapshots to make the delegation rewards fill in the box missing, pretty much. And that's how we're here, where our node is finally synchronized, and we're working towards, in the next days or week, hopefully resolve that, no matter the difficulties we face so far.
Just to add to that, there's actually a question submitted where someone said, the problems in the Ukraine started 16 days ago or something. How could you have been significantly set back from this war in Ukraine? To which I would reply, just because the problems in the Ukraine started on a global level 16 days ago, it does not mean that there weren't significant problems before the entire world was aware.
Also, yeah, for a lot of days, we're trying to make sure everybody is safe and in a state to work, right? Because it is pretty hard to continue working when you know what's happening at your home. And I'm actually originally from Ukraine, and I say that with a very heavy heart right now. But yeah, anyway, for 16 days, we know about the issues in Ukraine, but we also needed a lot of time to investigate into the issue and make sure that our implementation, as I said, is proper, tested, and is ready to be deployed. So yeah.
Gotcha. So another one that I have here is originally, I believe the date for the XI airdrop was supposed to be November 5th, and then it was not the airdrop, but the snapshot rather, was supposed to be November 5th of last year, and then was moved to December 12th, I believe, or 13th, one of those. I was curious if you could clear up why that was postponed. And then additionally, if your guys' thoughts around doing a planned airdrop snapshot date has changed due to obviously the issues that I feel like kind of may possibly stem from there with the loan system for when you guys go on Flare.
Well, I guess to answer the first question, the snapshot date was pushed back because we actually hired a brand new developer, and he was dealing with this particular snapshot tool. At the time we were preparing to take the snapshot, we wanted to review the tool more, just because, again, he was pretty new to our team. It's been definitely hard to add talent on the dev side that's extremely competent. Therefore, with somebody new who we don't, I guess, 100% know, it's hard to know how really good a developer is until they start pushing code. Anybody can claim anything, but we did think it was prudent to take more time to review this, because we did have somebody who is relatively new to our team at that time, who was working primarily on that snapshot tool. So yeah, that's why we pushed it back, so then we can have more time to review. Yeah, what was the second question?
Yeah,
Sorry?
the second one was because
Yes.
obviously there's been a lot of
The
airdrops.
snapshot date.
Yeah.
So I mean, the snapshot definitely is something that we have been talking about. How is there a way that we can complete a snapshot? I mean, anyone who's been in the crypto space long enough has seen what generally happens to charts post snapshots. And obviously this is not great for the community, but there's not really a way to know. Like, let's say we didn't announce a snapshot date and we just took a snapshot. And then once we go and announce, hey, the snapshot has been taken, likely it's going to have the same effect. So we'd either have to take a snapshot and like say absolutely nothing about when the snapshot was taken, which is just going to lead to more people being like, when snapshot, when is this happening, blah, 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 blah. It's one of those things where you're kind of not going to have everyone happy. There's something I've been looking into on the Terra blockchain, actually. They've been doing something called a boot swap, which I won't really get into at this time, but I mean, it's a potential solution. But again, I've seen now 2 or 3 protocols using this method, and I haven't, it's mixed results. So it's not too much better than just the classic, hey, the snapshot is this day and this time in this block. Either way, I do feel you're always going to have people who speculated just for the snapshot. You're always going to have people that speculated on growth pre to the snapshot. So this is kind of a problem that I don't know if you can completely eliminate. But again, we are open to suggestions on this kind of thing, and definitely aware of the issues.
Gotcha.
Looking into solutions.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for addressing it. I understand like one of the harder things to do is to get like a token out there. So obviously that always gets a lot of commentary, so, from the community and everything. But moving on further, some other questions I had. So obviously you guys have these DeLorean and Samurai NFTs. So I'm curious, what is the general plan for those? And then also if they're just going to be like focused on the Flare side of your protocol, or if they will also play a role in the Songbird side.
So the let's start with the Samurai NFTs. They were always intended to be released on the Flare mainnet. At the time that we did have the plan laid out for those, there was no Songbird or any Songbird network in the plans. Obviously, plans changed since then, and we do now have the Songbird network. We have been discussing potentially releasing them on the Songbird network and kind of making it so you can transfer them across to the Flare network from the Songbird network. But there's a lot of other things that are more important in
I won't disagree with you there.
So
in scale. So I mean, the NFTs, we do actually have a pretty huge NFT campaign with a bunch of fidgetals and things like that prepped. I do think it's probably, I'm really biased towards our team and our project, so I can't really talk about how it relates versus the rest of the things that we see in the NFT space. I do, the majority of the NFT stuff, we did want to kind of push that with flare drops, which we have been working on as well. But like I said, there's just a lot of things that with the current infrastructure that we've released that we need to polish this first before we can move forward to other things. And that's not to say that we forgot about these things or have no plan for how we're going to use them, because we definitely have like a pretty large body of work built around what we're going to do with NFTs that is actually ready to release at any time. But it's just like, why are we going to go release NFTs and try to sell NFTs when we have clear issues that we need to solve with what's existing right now? It doesn't make any logical sense to push forward on those at this exact time.
No, I mean, that makes sense to me. There's definitely, like we've talked about in the stream, many things to address first. The other, oh yeah, so one other thing I've seen in the chat here a few times, and definitely kind of was a thing on Twitter a little while ago. Have you guys thought about rebranding at all? Obviously, I can even tell in the comments, people still don't understand that the Flare Networks team is an entirely separate team from Flare Finance. I don't know if you guys have given that a thought or what the deal is there.
Yeah, for us, we do believe like the future is multi-chain. So a rebrand kind of makes sense along those lines because it's not only this, I guess, the Flare XRP community that we are targeting with middleware like Flare. Flare is like blockchain middleware. It's something that we believe will be heavily instrumental for a number of other blockchains. So our rebrand does make sense, and that is also another thing that we've been working on. Just to kind of clear up any of the issues and also give the main network team some space to work on their own as well. Because we don't believe we need to be as closely connected to them to succeed. So that is definitely something that we will be doing in the next little while here. There's a lot of stuff to push.
Yep, and yeah, definitely something that I wanted to add actually to your previous question about the NFTs on Songbird, which kind of takes me a little bit back about the reason of Songbird and how do I see it as a development process from a development perspective. So in my eyes, all the products should be, and very soon it would be viable, tested starting from Custom to Songbird to the mainnet. And that is the whole purpose of all those three networks existing, to make a product more bulletproof, let's say, and more stable, and the whole community to be more happy about the results on production.
Gotcha. All right. Oh yeah, I don't really know. Flare community, do you have any other questions or you tapped out on those?
Yeah, it's more of just an outlook towards the future. So if you had to, I guess, like make a prediction of which the next protocol which you're going to release, no time dates. You don't have to be specific, but what do you think is next in the pipeline? Do you think it's governance, Flare Drop, or Flare Wrap? Could you?
We are actively working on governance and Flare Up, obviously. We can't wait to see the state connector actually from the Flare network and see how that will work out. And I believe that would be a great time to have another discussion about that. But yeah, those two platforms are right now the priority. Yeah.
And in terms of the bottleneck, is it like developer power, or is it the auditing, or something else?
I would say both. And in addition to all the things that happen in the world, as I said, sometimes to some people it's hard to work in the conditions that happen around them, and I cannot really blame our team or anyone for like not being super productive in a specific period of time. We are human, first of all, and I believe that is something we forget a lot of times along the lines. But yeah, both those things, as well as all the happenings in the previous weeks, I would say, is what pushed us a bit back. I'm very, very optimistic again, and I believe a lot in our team. And how much we want to build things, and we strive forward. So I really believe it will be resolved and improved in a very, very short time.
Yeah, perfect. And my heart goes out to everyone in Ukraine. It must be pretty tough right now. But yeah, Patty, back over to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that wraps just about everything up. We're closing in on an hour here. I am curious for the rest of the people, since I'm sure we didn't get into all the questions from the Google Forms. Do you guys have plans to reach out to people on their questions, or if anybody didn't get anything answered, what's the way for them to do that?
We added a communication form. We will see if we will reach out to them if any of them added a communication handle. Otherwise, we'll try to figure out a best way. Maybe we'll do a write-up, or maybe
I would actually like to propose that we do a future AMA. I do like this form of being able to just answer questions flat out as people ask them. I think it's a good format. So, I mean, I would love to do another AMA in the future to address any concerns that we didn't in this AMA, and then also any more. I imagine through the development process, there will always be more questions and concerns. So I wouldn't mind setting up some kind of AMA schedule or something like that, so that people will know they will always have a time slot in which they can approach us and ask us questions, because we're 100% not beyond questioning.
Yeah, and something that I would like to add is that a lot of members are asking for more frequent updates, which we are working on a form of like changelog on weekly basis, or announcements on more development issues which are ongoing. Even if they're still ongoing, let's say, maybe we don't feel like we don't have to talk, let's say, and address issues, even if they're already known, right? Yeah. And as I believe this is coming to an end, I would like also to wish happy birthday to Breton, who is with us, which happens to be today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'll come talk any day, even on my birthday. It doesn't matter. Weekends, vacations, I don't really care about those things. I just like to build things. So thank you.
Nice. Cool. Well, we can wrap it up. I mean, you guys good? Do you have any last things you want to say, or?
I'd just like to say thank you, Patty, and obviously Mickey B, wherever he may be, for hosting, and Delvin, Benek, thanks for taking the time out of your day, especially you, Delvin, with your birthday. I appreciate you coming on.
I would like to add something at the end here, because I understand there would be different comments out there about this whole situation after this, and I just want to express again my positivity and to say that we're here to build things alongside with the community, to make this space a better place for people to be all together, right? And continue building whatever comes our way. So yeah.
I mean, to close, I would just like to thank you, Patty, Flare Community, and Mickey for giving us a chance to come and kind of like give our side of things and move forward from here. So thanks again. I hope that we will be able to chat again at some point on another AMA or something like that. If you guys are willing to host us, that would be great. So thanks again for the opportunity.
All right. Thanks for coming on. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. And that'll be it. Bye.
Bye.